They hide the truth in the shadows. It's time to light the way. This is the Fifth Estate.
crazy in my life. I've never seen it. It is literally diabolical. I can't make sense of it. I really can't make sense of it, y'all. I am just starting to wonder why. I'm starting to wonder why there is so much violence and hatred towards political affiliations. Like what happened at Brown University. They targeted people that they deemed as Republicans, right? I think I need to repeat and recap what I said again for the new people coming in. I see y'all flooding in. So you know what we're talking about before we get to the federal news, right? Again, I appreciate y'all. This is one of those days, right? The shooter at Brown University has not been found. They had a person of interest, which they leaked his name. People found photos and tried to claim he was MAGA. They had to release him because he wasn't the guy. Now this guy is smeared all over the internet because idiots want to be first and not right. And all of you that did that, you're pieces of shit. Yeah, I said that on live air. I don't care. I don't really care. All because you want a person to be a shooter to be MAGA so you can try to play political dunking points. I'm sorry. No, that's not how that works. Be right or not at all, or shut the fuck up. Completely. But we'll wait on that. This weekend, y'all know about, again, we're going back to the beginning, right? What happened on Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia was atrocious. Completely and totally atrocious. When we said October 7th was not going to be the last time, people said we were joking. It's a 50-year-old man and his 24-year-old son that carried out this heinous act in the name of Islam. These extremists. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to my Jewish friends, or Jew friends, whichever word you prefer, and my Christian friends. Just like the people want to hold you to account for things that were not purview of your extension and say you denounce it, you need to bring the same heat to the same people that support this Islam or Muslims, etc. You got to bring the same smoke, right? You got to bring the same smoke. Shout out to the Muslim man that disarmed the father, risked his life to save other lives, got shot in his arm and in his hand as payment, retribution, whatever you want to call it. But he saved a lot of lives, even in that 1-2 minute span where he went back and got another weapon and started shooting. And he saved a few more lives from that terror. And we all should lift him up in prayer. moment of silence and all that. Because that is the type of heroes we need in the world to change the tide in this called syndicate of hate that we're living in perpetuity. But I'm going to shift this back to the United States a second, right? Because I was hearing on social media today the responses from right wingers and left wingers alike about the whole Bondi Beach thing. And what shocked me, it shouldn't shock me because people are going to be people, right? That the people on Bondi Beach deserved what they got. This is a right wing group talking. I happen to step into a space with people on the left. Same sentiment. Same sentiment. And I do, and I want you guys to remember, and I'm gonna specifically speak to my to my Jew friends and my Christian friends, right? The battle that you are facing is a twofold battle. Keep in mind, the Muslims have not decided to run up in Christian churches yet. They haven't decided to run up in synagogues yet. Right? But that time will come. And y'all need to be ready. You have a faction of people in this country that that are anti-Jew and anti-Christian. And I refuse to use the anti-Semite terminology at this point because it's what it is. They hate Jews. They hate Christians. To the point they wear it on their face. That's the other side you got to worry about. Those people running into your synagogues and churches and shooting. And don't let the left tell you, oh, no, it's the right wing. You're both the same people. You are both the same people. So don't give me the bullshit that it's the right wing. No, y'all both on the same shit. Don't trust neither of you. See, you anti-Jew and anti-Christians, you're quick to bow up to a Jew or a Christian. You're quick to bow up to them because you know the good Lord tells them to turn the other cheek. But there's going to come a time where they're going to be, they are literally pushed to the edge right now, but one's going to turn the other cheek. And when they turn that cheek around, there's going to be a pistol waiting on you. Please and believe there's going to be pistols drawn out on you. And if you think it's fun and games then, all I'm going to tell you my famous saying, smile for the camera when it flashes. Because that flash is going to be the last thing you see, ever. And there'll be nobody to fault but yourself and the hatred that had filled your mind, body, and spirit. That's the only fault. I don't want to hear people talk, he was such a good person. No, you won't, because if you're walking around with hate in your heart, you're not a good person, period. You are the spawn of Satan and everything evil about it. And that even goes for the left, the right wingers that are anti-Christian and anti-Jew. You're the same people. You guys, the left and the right that have this hate, are no different than the people that support Hamas in this country. You're no different. You're the same people. You're the exact same people. The only difference is that you will support Palestine because their color perception, because they're darker people than the lighter colored Israelis. That's why you support it. because you want to claim brown people oppression. It's all hatred, all of it. And hate deserves to burn in the hottest places of the universe. Because I'm even tired, and I don't even really hardly talk like this, but I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing people hurt because of what they believe. I'm tired of seeing people get hurt because the tone of their skin, used because the tone of their skin. I am tired. I don't have fatigue. I am tired. And if you're part of those people that walks around with hatred in your heart for people because you are intolerant, you are too the ultimate king turd on piece of shit hill. And I hope that hits your heart harder than any conviction you ever had in your life. Because the human condition by default does not carry hate. It may carry prejudice, but it's hard to carry hate. And if you're walking around carrying hate, how can you call yourself to love something? Love and hate can't live in the same space. So how dare you go home and tell your wives and your husbands you love them, but you walk around with hatred in your heart? You can't do it. It is literally antithetical. And you know what's worse? Your soul is going to tell you you're wrong, and it's going to eat at you every single day. And you know what? I hope it does. I hope it eats away at you like none other until you decide to understand you can't harbor both emotions at the same time. And you get out of that darkness. Now, by no means, I'm not telling people not to be vigilant, not to protect themselves, not to protect their areas and spaces out of self-defense. But when that self-defense, quote unquote, let's say the self-defense of country turns into hatred, you've lost everything. All of it. And there's no coming back for you. So I want people to understand, when you see these people, and they're spouting this stuff, you have to stop them. Now, I'm going to get into my opinion about this whole thing. And I've never said it out loud, but I'm going to say it. First and foremost, I respect the United States Constitution, United States, June 20th, 1993. My oath doesn't end. But please understand, you can't import, right? And again, I'm not anti-Muslim, but you can't import people from a part of the world that is culturally ingrained, taught to hate Jews and Christians alike. You can't bring them to an area where it is culturally ingrained. That cultural indoctrination will take generations to change. And as these people allow this to get into our Western countries, England, if you look at England, England's cooked. And again, as England goes, America goes as well. I want people to understand that. Do we have a right as the people to say no? We damn sure do. Does the government listen? No. Because again, right? You can say death to America in another country, right? We can use that against you. We should be using it against you. So you can't come to this country. Period. Does the government do that? No. Oh, we gotta be compassionate. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. Because it's a threat to the existence of the United States. I've said y'all have heard me from day one. Like literally day one, 2018. You've heard me from day one. We should have an immigration moratorium. Because we don't know who's coming, who's going. And every administration has fucked it up. That's my 2 cents. Now, one more thing I want to get into. Let's see if I can get it to pull up. Here we go. So y'all heard about the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. Look, Rob Reiner was the biggest, not anti-Trumper ever, right? But no one deserves to be ran through the mud and the ground over their political beliefs and death. At all. Regardless of his beliefs, let's stay on principle. Let's don't be the same people that the left the way they did, the way they treated Charlie Kirk. The same empathy afforded to Kirk. Even though you may not like Rob Reiner, his family still afforded that empathy. I mean, outside of his political beliefs, right? I mean, look, he made movies that we loved, right? Stand By Me, right? Spinal Tap. Like we loved his movies, and he was a great director. I don't take that from him, TDS or not. I don't take that from him. I don't have to listen to your political beliefs to enjoy your movies, right? But the sorry shit about this is his son killed his parents. His homeless, drug addicted son killed them. After everything they did for him to try to bring him out of addiction, he killed them. That's the sorry shit we've gotten to in America. And I hope his son is locked up for the rest of his life. But I can tell you, a lot of people on social media was like, I'm hoping, like the sweat was real, straight up. I was listening to a couple of X Spaces while I was on the phone today in between doing things. And I was just watching the space, and people say, "Oh God, I hope the guy was at MAGA," before we knew it was the sun. Oh, I hope it, oh God, people that are MAGA are like, "Oh my God, I hope it's not some MAGA guy just went off." And I'm like, but here's the problem, right? If you're so worried about your label, your brand being out there, right? Like that. And there's wackos and all of it, right? There's wackos and all of it, right? If it happened to be some MAGA, you denounce it immediately and you keep going. You don't have to worry about it. It's like, hey, no, that shit wasn't cool, right? That shit wasn't cool, blah, 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 blah. Or people celebrate, oh, he's dead, the Wicked Witch is dead. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Because you end up being like the people, right? You end up being like the people that did not afford Charlie Kirk and his family empathy. And here's the sorry part about it. That other team is still not giving Erica Kirk any rest. Still, after all this time. Because that other side lacks empathy as much as they say they have empathy. But I know all the people that I rock with the show, my patrons, the people in the chat, we have that ability to convey empathy, even though we might not have liked his political views. Right? Some of y'all disagree. But that's the only principled stance I can afford you at this point. Now, we got a few minutes left after I said my whole thing here to get into the meat and potatoes of what I really want to get through. So first and foremost, stretch your fingers out, all that good stuff real quick, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Those of you that are listening on public radio, remember, save this on your dial. Do the little click, if you're in a car, do the little click, all that good stuff, right? If you're on the Rumble, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, do the same thing. If you're on Twitch and Kick, booyah, do the same thing, because we're going to get into this. We're going to fly through it real quick, right? We found out let me see if I can get it to work. There we go. So, President Trump, here he goes again. Mr. Trump, excuse me, Mr. Trump decided to declare fentanyl, yes, fentanyl, a weapon of mass destruction. I know you're laughing, folks, but please do understand, in this executive order, right, the implications that's listed, right, is the fact that the Department of War can bring full resources and intelligence services into the counter drug fight. It also, this EO mandates the Secretary of State and Treasury to pursue actions against foreign assets and financial institutions, broadening the scope of its sanctions. And number three thing that I found in this executive order is that it directs the Attorney General to pursue enhanced criminal charges and sentencing variances. So I have a question. Like, after I read this, I have a question, right? Does this new I don't know, power or expansion or redefining of this power justify the expansion of the military industrial complex into domestic law enforcement. I mean, it's just something to think about, right? It's just something to think about, because I know the counter drug fight right now is on the water, but we also have a counter drug fight on the soil. So, something to think about. If And I'm just throwing this out there, if Posse Comitatus prevents the U.S. military from conducting any law enforcement type activities on domestic soil, how, if someone's busted with fentanyl and it's declared a weapon of mass destruction, right? That's a federal thing, right? How are we justifying the expansion of the military industrial complex into domestic law enforcement? It's just something. It's just something that struck me, right? It's something to think about. Um, as far as shifting to um employment, let me see if I could shifting to the employment realm. Um, and this is per Meritalk. Um, President Trump has surpassed federal workforce cut targets, so he's cut a little bit more, right, since June, right? Because in this latest review, in this piece here, they're saying about 300,000 across the federal workforce, um, mainly attributed to the Doge, um, the Doge thing, right? These federal workers let go, and and again, this is something that has been done in the past. And Trump did it his first term, right, with the Schedule F, right, stripping employment protections, right? um, the deferred resignation program, right, and the mass firings of probationary employees. So this cycle is just still continuing, right? Now, I did see in a piece on CNN where the critics of this point out that the layoff of personnel in these critical positions, like within the FDA or the USDA, bird flu experts are being laid off, right? Because they think that particular service is being like degraded and we really need it. And it's like, bird flu is such a small thing, right? Like, and it's usually isolated, it's not countrywide. So miss me with the boo cheat. Miss me with the boo cheat. But anyway, um let's see what we got here. Now, if we're gonna shift over to the Hill. We have a little bit of time left, so we're gonna shift over to the Hill real quick. There's three bills still left to go through on the floor. Let's see if I can get this one to come up here. First one is the Speed Act. Make sure y'all can see that. Yeah, y'all can see that. Cool in the gang. And this one's crazy, right? Because the Speed Act, right, which is HR 4776, they haven't moved the ticker yet, because it's supposed to be voted on by the end of the week. But the Speed Act is going to streamline defense acquisition, aka procurement. So basically, so without getting into the complete technical details, this bill will allow the Defense Department to exhaust any public entity and resources when it comes to creating weapons, new weapons, et cetera, and then they're able to cross over into approved vendors in the private sector. So here we go again, right? the Raytheons, the Lockheeds, right, of the military industrial complex, the Halliburtons, right, are going to get richer. I mean, again, y'all heard me talk about how these people put these politicians in place for you to vote for them, and you think they're R or D when they're really C for corporate. And you see, they pass a law to enhance the federal, not only to to give away federal money to these private entities. Mm-hmm. The next one, let me pull up the next one here real quick here. There we go. Let me see if I can get it to come up here on this screen. Okay, here we go. So next bill that'll be voted on this week is HR 3616, a Reliable Power Act. And this bill actually directs the Electric Reliability Organization, right, which is the NAERC, to conduct annual long-term assessments of the reliability of electric power in the bulk power system, right? It also establishes a process for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to review federal regulations before they are finalized if the Electric Reliability Organization finds that the system is at risk or a risk of not having sufficient electric generation to maintain reliability. More bureaucracy, people. More bureaucracy is what the bottom line of this is. And the last but not least bill is the Kayla Hamilton Act. I don't know if y'all remember if y'all remember Kayla Hamilton, but she was the gal that was raped by a 17-year-old of an illegal. I have the story. I'll play the story real quick so y'all can remember. It happened just a little bit ago, but I'll play the story so you guys can so you get caught up on this.
Well, the name Laken Riley has become part of our culture and politics. She was a 22-year-old nursing student who was jogging when she was killed by an illegal immigrant 2 years ago.
This year, President Trump signed into law the Laken Riley Act. It requires the detention of illegal immigrants who are charged or convicted of serious crimes. Tonight, Regina Mobley has the story of a Norfolk mother who wants you to remember her daughter as well. Regina?
Kayla Hamilton, a 20-year-old Norfolk native, was killed by a teen who police describe as an undocumented non-citizen from El Salvador. This was 2 years before Laken Riley was killed. Tonight, Kayla's mother wants you and 2 federal agencies to remember her daughter's name. On July 24th, 2022, Kayla Hamilton celebrated her 20th birthday in Aberdeen, Maryland. Her mother sent well wishes via Facebook.
Happy birthday, baby girl. I am so proud of the woman that you are becoming. I hope you have a great day. And my baby girl did not know that her life was going to be ended 3 days later.
On July 27th, Hamilton was killed by a fellow tenant in a trailer home.
He broke into her room, and of course it woke her up. She was sleeping in her bed, and woke her up, and she grabbed her phone and dialed her boyfriend.
Hamilton's last phone call went to voicemail.
The voicemail is, I never listened to it, but it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. It showed a struggle and him strangling her in her last moments. And Kayla fought for her life that day, and she fought hard because of all the defensive wounds she had on her. After he killed her, he sexually assaulted her and just left her on the floor like trash.
Prior to your daughter's death, were you politically involved in the debate about immigration in America?
No. I thought they were doing the right thing and checking and vetting those that are coming here.
Attorneys for Nobles say the killer, a known MS-13 gang member, 16-year-old Walter Javier Martinez, confessed to killing Hamilton. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 70 years behind bars. In a first ever, Nobles is suing the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Health and Human Services for wrongful death, citing negligence and flagrant failures. The lawsuit says, had agents at the border simply lifted Martinez's shirt, they would have seen the MS-13 gang tattoos. Martinez would have been denied entry and Hamilton would be alive today. Nobles is seeking $100 million in damages for the death of her daughter. Her mother will not rest until justice for Kayla is served.
No parent should ever have to go through what I've gone through. And that's why I'm making change. So no parent would have to go through what I'm going through.
Maryland's state attorney said no one deserves to suffer and die at the hands of a monster like this victim did. Tammy Nobles is seeking $100 million in damages and has a GoFundMe account to help with legal and other expenses. I have more on wavy.com. Regina Mobley, 10 on your side.
She was Laken Riley before Laken Riley, right? But no one, no one cared, right? And it sucks. No, again, I'm not taking nothing away from Laken Riley, right? Not taking anything from that, but these things happen all over our country. Not and death being, one of those things, right? Where, it's unthinkable, right? I mean, we think about the girl in Iowa, right? That was raped and killed, right? In that cornfield, right? Every single and look, every single person that has been affected by an illegal, right? And I think this is the course of action we should take, right? As the victim themselves, right? But also the people of the county or municipality, right? So this is twofold, right? How her mother is suing the federal government for negligence, right? Not following their own laws, holding them to account for not following their own laws, right? The people of the counties, I'm sure there's a way they can also sue the federal government for this infringement. Also, there's a way. I have to look, but there's a way. But please, if you're even carjacked by an illegal and you know he's illegal, sue the federal government for negligence, right? I know that's going to be costing on taxpayers. Don't get me wrong. But once the federal government runs out of money to hand people for restitution, they will have to change their tune. At some point, they're going to have to change their tune. Because these type of things need to stop. And the federal government is out of control and doing whatever the fuck they want to do, how the hell they want to do it. And it's at this point, it is no longer permissible by the people, by the people of the nation. It's no longer permissible and should be dealt with accordingly. Now, as we keep going here, we're going to kind of blow through these a little bit here. We have House Concurrent Resolution 61, and this resolution is directing the president pursuant to Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution. If you don't know the War Powers Resolution, just go look at the War Powers Act of 1973, and you'll be able to see Section 5C, and you'll see what they're talking about. But It's directing the president to remove United States armed forces from his hostilities with presidentially designated terror organizations in the Western Hemisphere. So you basically know what this is saying. You know what this is saying right from Jump Street. You can no longer attack the drug boats. You can't no longer attack the Gulf cartel if they happen to be, you know what I mean, in American soil with the armed forces. This is just fucked up all the way around. I'm sorry. This is a can of fucked up. That's one bill they're trying to push through. Another resolution they're trying to push through is they're going to direct removal of United States armed forces from hostilities within or against Venezuela that has not been authorized by Congress. So you know what, Congress, look. Y'all should just repeal the War Powers Act. How about that? Don't piecemeal this because this is Trump. Just because this is Trump. This is why y'all doing this, right? Just repeal the whole damn thing or shut the fuck up. Because personally speaking, the president should have any war powers. Take your shit back like you want to. Don't piecemeal it in concurrent resolutions and say, we're trying to stop Trump. No, bitch, you want to stop the president? The office of the U.S. president should not have any type of war power. Repeal the whole fucking act. Pussies. Are you scared? Oh, because maybe your president might get in. Y'all might want to go pew, pew, pew on somebody else. No. If it's not okay now, it's not okay later. Repeal the War Powers Act. Period. Because the president should not have that power constitutionally. Sorry, not sorry. Don't be punks about it. Don't dance around and gaslight the American people because 80% of the American people don't know shit about this. They just go along with what they're told on the MSNBCs and the CNNs, the Con and Negroes Nightly, all that shit. They just go along with what they're saying. Bitch, repeal the whole fucking War Powers Act. Repeal the War Powers Act and all that shit's done. And y'all don't have to worry about any president whatsoever using the war powers and the whole 90-day provision because you don't like what they're doing. No, just repeal the whole damn thing. Just be done with it. And then when the president comes to you asking you for an AUMF, right? Make sure you fully scrutinize it and then you give him the power to do it. Period. But y'all a bunch of pussies. Y'all won't repeal it because you hope to get in power one day and be able to use this at will. No, fuck out of here. Unprincipled sons of bitches. Anyway, so I know that had to be bleeped out. I'm sorry. My bad, y'all. I just get completely like freaking ticked when it comes to this stuff. Just because it's Trump. But what I will show you, here's a case that's very, 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 let me see if I can get it to come up here. Here we go. Okay, so let's switch to this tab. So this case will be coming before the Supreme Court in June. This is United States. It's not big enough. Make it a little bit bigger so y'all can read it. Here we go. United States versus Himani. This case is very, very important for everybody that lives in states that have legalized marijuana, right? Because this case, right? This case will determine the constitutionality of Federal Law 18 USC Section 922, Paragraph G, Clause 3, which prohibits anyone who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance from possessing firearms. This is important. This is very, very important. Because why should you not be able, if the state allows you to do something, right? And remember, There's no federal law preemption, right? That preempts states from not being able to legalize marijuana, right? I want y'all to think about this, right? Just reading the question that's before the court, right? Oh, I want y'all's take on this question before the court. It's 18 U.S.C. Section 922, Paragraph G, Clause 3, the federal statute that prohibits the possession of firearms by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance violates the Second Amendment as applied to respondent. Now, you have to remember, right? You have to take in the fact that this is post-Bruen, right? We know how the Bruen decision changed the landscape for the Second Amendment and brought it back, literally back to its original intent, right? Almost, minus a few provisions, right? But this is going to be very important for those people that are living in states that, or have moved to states that have allowed marijuana, controlled marijuana, right? You should be able to hold a firearm. You're not committing a crime, right? You're not committing a crime, you're smoking marijuana. Why can't you hold a gun, right? I mean, I thought it was innocent before proven guilty, right? Anyway, I'm gonna digress on that one a second, right? Just something for y'all to think about. Also, we have another case coming. Let me see if I can get this to come up. Okay. So they don't actually have the whole thing up here yet. But I'll show this anyway, just so everybody can see who, what, where, how I am talking about here. So this is, can I make it bigger? Yes, very good. So this is the case of Margolin versus the National Association of Immigration Judges, right? And this dispute, right, is based on a policy that forbids judges from speaking publicly about immigration, right? Now, so far, the Supreme Court has granted a temporary stay to the Trump administration, putting the lower court's ruling on hold on this, right? Now, I think this is going to be more of a separation of powers fight. The way this is marked up, because this is a First Amendment right thing here, right? Bound into what would be the jurisdiction of the federal courts, right? Now, the National Association of Immigrant Judges in the in their writ, or I'm saying their amicus, they're saying it violates the members' right, First Amendment rights, putting a restraint on speech. It also prevents them from sharing their professional experiences and personal views on immigration law and policy. And they say it also interferes with judicial independence by forcing them to recite the agency's talking points when speaking in an official capacity. So, I mean, I could see that, but again, right, I would even say to that is this issue should be challenged through administrative process, right? Because of the CSRA, or those of you that know what the CSRA is, as the Civil Service Reform Act of 78, right? And within this law, it creates a channel for federal employment disputes. Because remember, these judges are technically federal employees, right? Right. And those claims would be routed in this case through the Office of the Special Counsel and the MSPB, which is the Merit Systems Protection Board, right? And in this regard, the I would think from that position, I would think that the government, if again, if I was arguing it, the government, um, would actually should actually contend that the federal district court lacks the jurisdiction in the subject matter. Just based on that, because of the channels it's going through, right? So I mean, we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. But um and that's really it for the most part. So to kind of recap where we've been, right? Where we know the Capitol Hill is asserting its war powers resolution authority, all that good stuff. Oh, I forgot about the Trump Slaughter case. Oh, geez, I forgot to mention the Trump versus Slaughter case, right? Which is the presidential removal power, right, from for mass layoffs and civil service reduction. So that I forgot that case is going to be in the spring too. So I'm sorry I missed that. I'm trying to hurry today and get y'all up out of here, and not bore you too much. We know fentanyl now is a weapon of mass destruction. We just watch on how that's gonna play itself out in the end. Because I don't think that may end well in that regard, right? So, I mean, that's just that's just where that goes, right? So, with that, I appreciate y'all, love y'all, all that good stuff. Remember, look, we have to slow down the hatred, right? We have to slow down the rhetoric, as a lack of better words. We have to slow down and take a breath. And if we see people doing things like this, we just need to we have to walk away from them. We have to isolate them. We have to shame them, right? Because if we don't, it's going to get worse before it ever get better. With that being said, appreciate y'all, love y'all. Remember, love your neighbors, love yourself, and love your family. Until next time, peace and love, everybody.